everybody, it's Mandy from Trouble Forge. So I mentioned in previous videos that I wanted to start bringing you more videos about what we do with all the stuff that we preserve. I often get questions like, what are you going to do with 50 jars of apple butter, and how is your family going to eat 200 jars of applesauce, and etc., etc. So just for reference, we are feeding, on average, typically, we are feeding 6 people. So typically feeding 6 people. So we have 3 adults, there's me and Zad, Matt, who is our helper, friend, live-in, whatever you want to call him. Bud, who is pushing 14, 6'1", eats like an adult. And then we have 2 littles, 2 and 4. So, we're really feeding like 5 people, I always feel like. So like 4 adults and like the 2 littles kind of equal 1 adult. So it is really not that hard for us to work through the amount of food that we preserve. Plus, and I've mentioned this before, I typically will try to preserve things so that I don't have to can everything every year. So canned goods, despite what the box says when you buy ball jars, are good for way longer than 18 months if you process them properly, you store them properly, etc. So, I have things that are 3 or 4, probably 4, 3 is probably the oldest on my shelf. I have a couple things pushing 4 years by the time we get to winter. But nonetheless, everyone's always wondering what we do with all this stuff. So tonight, Zad is working on dinner. It is 10:30. This is like not uncommon for us. We had to process some chickens tonight and get them out of the coop because they're just old and not laying anymore. So we had all of that going on. And then, I feel like this is pretty normal for any family that has a homestead and kids, we were waiting until the evening to chat about what our next project is. And, when the kids are like a little more docile. So it's 10:30, not uncommon. Zad is working on dinner. So we have the turkey and chicken that we processed. I put that video up. I can link it in the description. We smoked them on our friend's smoker. So we have those. We have onions in there that I bought from a local farmer. So I just have a box of onions sitting in the extended pantry. And then we just go pull onions when we need them. We also have chopped onions in the freezer. So if we need, chopped onions. Soft, so I was using them. Yeah, some of them were getting kind of soft. I've had some onions since like spring or whatever, so they needed used up. So he sliced up some onions. He's got our chicken and turkey mix. I didn't split off the chicken and turkey separately when we shredded it. We just threw it all in one bag because we don't care. It's all white meat and poultry, so who cares? So, babe, tell them a little bit about what you're doing.
All right, so I shredded the chicken turkey by hand, just getting it smaller pieces, make it kind of pulled chicken like. Put some bacon grease in there, cut up the onions, put that in there. Then I put marinade that we got from Blessings of Hope and some apple butter.
Blessings of Hope I've talked about many times. That's a place in Lancaster that we get food for 60 cents a pound. I can link a quick video that I did about it in the description. I do have another full-length video coming about what we get there. If you're anywhere near Lancaster, Pennsylvania, it's a really great place to go. Also, we always have ample bacon grease on hand. We have 2-quart jars sitting here that need used up. I also get the question often, do you store your bacon grease in the fridge? Do you just keep adding to it? Yes, we keep adding to it. No, we don't store it in the fridge. We go through it fast enough that it has literally never gone rancid. We've never had that problem. This bread, I've mentioned before, we have not mastered working bread into our regular routine yet. It's something I want to work on this winter. But in my Sam's Club video, and I can link that in the description, I talk about how we got Dave's bread when we went to Sam's Club. It is fairly clean as store-bought bread goes. It has 5 grams of protein in each slice. So I love that because, you get a little extra fill in your bread. So we're using that. I talked about the Cabot cheese that I got because, again, we don't have a dairy cow yet. 2-ish year goal maybe. So we're not making our own hard cheeses. So that was something we also got at Sam's. So Zad has that out and some shredded cheddar. Again, I make some soft cheeses and things, but I don't make hard cheese yet. So these are things we have to get at the store. All right. So 2 things. We are only making dinner for 2 of us tonight because the littles ate. They were hungry. So they just had like yogurt and some other things. Matt is on a hike, so you can check him out at Fellowship of the Trail. He is out on a month-long hike, so we'll be bringing him home in a couple days, actually. Bud is down at my parents'. If you know us at all, you know that we unschool. He joined a metal detecting club, which he loved and he's super excited about. So he was down in Lancaster going to that, going to his favorite youth group. It's his weekend to go to his dad, you know, multiple things. So he's not here with us this week. Everybody will be back next week, which is awesome because we have a lot of projects to do. And you know, we're coming up on Christmas, so we're just super busy with goat milk soap and fire pokers and all that stuff. So tonight Dad is only making 2 sandwiches. At Blessings of Hope, we got this, and typically I would make this myself because obviously I have goat milk on hand. But we got this chèvre cheese and it's cranberry and orange peel. I mean, at 60 cents a pound, we couldn't leave it. It's delicious. So what's that? We didn't get enough. We always go and we're like, oh, we're pretty sure we're gonna like this, but what if we get a ton and we don't? I mean, we could always feed it to the chickens, I guess. But you know, if it's something we've never had before, we usually try not to come home with like, you know, a cart full of it. So we have that. We have our mustard, which we call this our mama mustard because this is my mom's recipe, and this is like one of our favorite things. I'm pretty sure I don't have a video on how to do this mustard, so I'm gonna need to do one for you. This stuff is delicious. It's like a sweet, hot mustard. We use it all the time. Like, I'm definitely gonna need to can more next year because I'm probably down to like...
Zuzu eats a bunch.
Zuzu loves it. She's 2 and she loves it. So I probably have 20-ish pints in the pantry, which might get us through until next year's pepper season. We'll see. So he's got the pepper jack cheese here.
So butter your bread.
Yep.
I'm going to take some of the mustard. Spread that down.
And obviously he's got his cast iron skillets. We always cook on cast iron. If anyone's looking for the best cast iron skillet you can possibly use, Lancaster Cast Iron, which is from where we used to live. They're actually right down the road from us. They're made there. It is the best. We probably have 40 or 50.
Healthy enough.
Yeah, it's way too many cast iron skillets of various types and sizes and brands and whatever. And our Lancaster cast iron skillet is the one that we use all the time. I will link their website in the description. It's the best. Nothing, and I know somebody's gonna be like, oh, well, if you seasoned it correctly. This one, if you struggle with cast iron ever, it is the best. Nothing ever sticks to it. It's our favorite skillet.
This one isn't. This one's just a typical lodge.
Yeah, that's a typical lodge.
This is your cast iron. And like, this is a pretty sticky caramelization, and you can see how it's
it's the best.
It's
the best skillet. I'll definitely link that one in the description. All right, so we got our buttered side, our mustard side. Zad's putting those down. And if you have ever eaten one of Zad's meals, there aren't recipes. That's not really a thing. He just wings it. He goes with what feels good.
My ancestors tell me to stop.
Right. So he is putting the cheese down. We're basically making bougie grilled cheeses with our meat and onions and cheese and mustard and all those things. All right, so he's got his pepper jack down. What's the other one? Oh, string cheese.
String cheese for the mozzarella.
Oh, gosh. So we had gotten string cheese at Sam's Club, which I mentioned in the video, and he shredded one up to put on there.
Mozzarella in the
fridge.
We
do, actually. So I'm kind of surprised you used that because we do have a ton of mozzarella.
Last night, it was like on the, like,
it's fine.
Let's go, let's get something done.
So he's putting the cranberry orange peel goat cheese on there with the pepper jack, putting a little cheddar cheese on there. I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, wow, that's a lot of cheese.
Yeah, well, it's a bougie, fancy grilled cheese sandwich.
Yep, it's a bougie grilled cheese sandwich.
You've been busting your butt with chickens for 4 or 5 hours.
We're hungry.
Non-stop.
We haven't eaten since breakfast.
You want some good food.
All right, so just getting that kind of browned a little bit. It smells amazing. I wish I had smell-o-vision so that you could see this.
This is just to get your crust browned on the backside, and then I'll actually take it off and finish it in the oven to get the cheese melted the rest of the way, because it never is fun having grilled cheese where the bread's toasted, but the cheese isn't quite done yet, so it's like half gooey, not so. It's easier just to put it in the oven with the broiler and get it finished off.
And he's already got it on high, ready to go. Also, what's this back here, you ask? We don't use a microwave because I don't like microwaves and I don't want to take up counter space. And this is the coffee that I burned because I was too busy working on this video, so womp. All right, so he's moving meat from the skillet onto there. We got some fancy new... Oh, are you using the new cookie sheet? I guess not. We got some new cookie sheets from...
Seasoned.
This one is well seasoned. That's actually our favorite cookie sheet. That one came from Pampered Chef. I don't buy a lot of like MLM things, but they do have really nice cookie sheets. We did get some new cookie sheets from Sam's Club, actually, so I'm anxious to see how those work. We're kind of cookie sheet snots because I just...
pops?
Yeah, I hate...
It's hot.
Right. We hate the ones that pop and are flimsy, and that one is just like super sturdy. All right, so transferred that to the cookie sheet. He's gonna prep the next one, get that on the cookie sheet, and then put it under the broiler. As anytime you use the broiler, just really watch it, especially if it's on high, because it can get away from you super quick. Also, I'll put a recipe of sorts in the description. Like I said, there's no like exact science to this. You could certainly use any cheese you want, any meat you want. You could use like shredded beef or shredded pork, yeah, whatever cheese it is that you love. Yeah, oh my. Okay, so our fridge is always like just this conglomerate of mason jars, and
Mandy's
Zad,
science laboratory.
it is my science laboratory. And Zad's task is always just to use up the random jars of things that I have in the fridge, and he does a really great job of it. So anyway, you could substitute anything, whether it is homemade bread that you have or whatever. You could add like sweet peppers to this, or hot peppers, or you could do like some stewed tomatoes in it. I mean, there's everything. Grilled cheese is like one of our favorites because we can make it as bougie and fancy as we want. And we always chuckle. Because, and I think Meg and Ben at Holler Homestead have mentioned this before. Like, they feel like they eat like so fancy, but it just seems so counterintuitive because like they're just eating their canned food. But when you like prepare the food yourself and you've prepped it yourself and frozen it or canned it or freeze dried it or whatever it is that you're doing, or raised it in your backyard, like, it's good. I mean, if we went somewhere and bought a bougie grilled cheese with like home raised, farm raised, whatever you want to call it, you know, poultry and like goat cheese and all this would be expensive. I mean, you're probably talking like,
we've eaten at those places.
We have like a $12 or $14 grilled cheese. And I mean, seriously, we're making this for, I bet this whole dinner is going to cost like a couple dollars, if that. And it's going to be delicious. All right, so these are ready. They're going to go in the oven, on broil, on high, probably just for a couple minutes. Basically,
life on the edge of danger.
Right, basically until they're melted. All right, so he's ready to pull them out. They are like perfectly melted and ready to put together. All right, so I'm gonna have a side salad with mine because we still have some remain left from when we went to Sam's. We don't typically buy salad dressing, so I just took my homemade sour cream, which I can link that video in the description. My mustard that we talked about a little bit ago. I just mixed some of that in a jar. I mean, I don't need anything super fancy. I just need to like wet the lettuce. So this is sufficient for that. Again, with dressing, you can do whatever. I mean, any seasoning, as long as you, typically what I use for my base is yogurt. I just happen to have the sour cream that I know needs use. So any kind of like yogurt base or sour cream base, whether that's homemade or store-bought or whatever. And then you can mix in a hot sauce, a mustard, any kind of seasoning or herbs you might have on hand. Obviously, you could do something with like olive oil and just mix in some seasonings. Anything like that would work. I mean, again, we don't really use recipes for things like this. We just kind of like go with whatever feels good and whatever's sitting in the fridge. So Zad's gonna whip me up a salad. I will show you what finished dinner looks like. It's gonna be amazing. All right, so we got a little gorgonzola, a little feta, yum. Talked about those in my Sam's Club video. Those are kind of special treats for us. We don't always have those, but we were just at Sam's Club, so yay for me. I have this delicious salad. All right, so Zad's just putting the dressing that I whipped up on top of my salad, and we'll plate it here with our sandwich. All right, so there is our delicious sandwich with salad, and I am pretty excited. So, if you have questions about making meals like this, or you know, you have something in your pantry, you're not sure what to do with it, something you canned, you're not sure what to do with. I know a lot of times I have people reach out to me and they'll say like, you know, I canned this, but my family doesn't like it as is, so how can I work it into things? We love like creative food and yummy food and funky food. So So if you have questions about anything that we did here, let me know. I'm hoping to bring you a lot more videos like this. Hopefully you enjoy them, and just help you, and not necessarily bring you recipes, but just help you feel inspired to use whatever is sitting in the fridge, sitting in the pantry, things you need to use up or whatever. So this we are going to dive into, and we'll see you next time.